What's going on, everybody? I'm Miles. We are resilient as a people, but it's like a forced resiliency, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're resilient because we have to be.
It's okay to be through some stuff. It's okay to grow up in the worst areas in the city of Milwaukee. It's okay to go through some shit. That's why people, connect with other people.
I'm doing what society told me, and as a man is to be strong, be on, provide, do all the stuff you're supposed to do. So I never learned how to be vulnerable.
I got a lot of gain from being in the white schools.
To get the trust, like Corey said, he had to earn that white man's trust.
Seeing how much wisdom there is in the room.
One of the biggest things that Black Space wants to do, and it is our passion, is to destigmatize wellness within Black and brown communities. One of the biggest stigmas is, hey, I don't even know where to go to try to find a therapist that looks like me.
What you want, Dr. Knox?
We're down here, we need help. We saw you outside. Come down here so you can help me with these boxes. And where's Corey?
Oh, I'm right here. Here I come. I'm just grabbing some stuff. I was getting some. Hold on.
Okay, is Corey up there or is Corey at home? As he hangs up on my face. This is why we fight all the time. I get no respect. How about I hold that door open and you come get some boxes? Okay, that's better. Is Corey here or he's still at his house?
I was getting some ginger beer. No, not ginger beer.
So with Black Space, it's such a wonderful and serendipitous connection. Corey and I have known each other for a while, and we had the relationship, the therapeutic relationship.
That's actually my forte. I was able to talk to someone that just wanted to just listen and not present a solution unless I asked for one. And I honestly felt like I was talking to a friend at the time.
You want to jump?
There you go. I was rolling on that, by the way.
Corey has been telling me to go to Dr. Knox beforehand. So I understand, and he used to tell me the value of therapy, how much it helped him out and everything like that. I came with the idea like, man, why don't we just hold free group therapy? Free group therapy for the Black and brown community.
This is one of the baskets that I collect and I bring along with me. I don't buy new things for artwork when I fill Black Space, the space of Black Space, because I want it to feel personal. That's very, very important to me and to our group, because if it's from the heart, I believe that it has the energy of what we bring there, which is love, which is giving, which is thoughtfulness, and which is healing.
We want to make sure that every person feels very comfortable in their own space, and that the tightness of a lot of these chairs, or just the singleness of all these chairs, allows people to feel like they have their own space, and they have their own agency, that they can feel more comfortable with showing their vulnerability.
I'm Armando, I'm 25. My friend Corey, he invited me to the session.
I'm Miles Sy. I'm 24 years old and I'm an account executive at iHeartRadio. I have never been to Dr. Knox's therapy session or to a therapy session in general.
So we'll let Darius and Corey kind of get things started.
Hey everybody, my name is Corey Fells. Darius and I and Dr. Knox kind of started this because we've experienced our own mental anguish, or specifically mental trauma. And to be very honest, I experienced it a lot when it came to me being in the military and also COVID hitting. And I think, and also my mom passing, that pretty much been on my own since I was the age of 17. I went to a predominantly white high school. My mom wanted me to be able to have the best education and just the best resources possible. So she enrolled me into this 220 program, which is a lottery essentially for inner city kids to be bused out to suburban schools. And I would have to get my first bus at 5:30 just to be able to attend school on time at 7:45. And I had to take 3 buses in order to get to school on time. I told everybody I'm good friends with, you need to have a therapist, you need to have somebody to talk to. And one of those people ended up being Darius. Darius, you want to add anything to that?
I guess the biggest thing with Black spaces is just, it's a lot of stuff within our community that we push to the side and we feel like this is how things are supposed to be, when that's not the case at all. We have a lot of internalized trauma that we all go through that we think is just regular stuff, and we, kind of hold it in and we kind of just deal with it. We kind of got to this point of wanting to do free therapy throughout the summer. I led a lot of the protests throughout the summer, 4,000 to 5,000 people so far on. And when I was in a protest, talking to 4,000 people, I cried in front of the crowd. And that was the first time, me as a man, me as a father, me as someone's son, blah, 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 I was able to be vulnerable, not just for myself, but for others around me. And for me to be vulnerable at that, and be able to shed those tears, it was more so for me like shedding the skin that I had, not just me as a Black man, but just me as a person. To grow, you gotta feel uncomfortable, So that's what Black space is.
Well, I'll also tell you a bit about myself, because with Black space and the realm of psychology and therapy, I don't know if any of you have heard this, but in our books, in our Bible of psychology, the way I was taught was when you have a client or someone who comes to therapy, you're only supposed to listen to them. And you're not supposed to tell them much about yourselves, right? How many of you all have heard that before? We have pins for signatures. Make sure we got the wellness resources. In high school, I did fall prey and experience depression and anxiety. Mental illness ran heavily and rampant in my community. So many of the youth that I hung out with were diagnosed with mental illnesses that could have been treated, but instead they went to jail first, or the legal system got involved. You just put on this chair. So I'll tell you a bit about myself, because I highly believe in telling you a bit about myself. No need for you to be sitting here talking to a stranger. You don't know me. So here you go. So I'm Dr. Knox, Dr. Leah Knox. I am born and raised here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I love this city so much. My passion is helping people of color. So I've been in Afghanistan, Haiti, Turkey during the war-torn times, because that was the times when people needed the most help. Not that I was trying to save anybody, but my heart called me there. We want to be well. As soon as someone says, I'm ill, I don't feel good, that's a negative, right? How many of you all have denied being sick and your leg just fell off? But we want to make sure that we take care of ourselves and to talk about just stuff. What's on your mind? What's going well? What things are going on with your family? What went on with your careers during COVID, before COVID? When was the last time that happened for you all? Has it ever happened? Raise your hand. Yes.
My name is Renell. I was invited by Corey. I feel like I met Darius before, but I've seen the work that they've been doing. You don't learn how to be vulnerable. Depending on your upbringing, and like the type of parents, guardians, whoever raised you were there, like you learn some of their behaviors that they do. And I know the last time I was in a relationship, I was talking to my pastor about some of the things we were going through, and he was like, are you vulnerable and transparent with her? And I was like, what is that? Like, no, like I'm doing what society told me, and as a man is to be strong, be on, provide, do all the stuff you're supposed to do. So I never learned how to be vulnerable.
What you mentioned, women have these spaces and it's more preventive. Like I could just be walking down the street or doing whatever. Girl, what you doing? Nothing, I'm just going on. Want to go for a drink? Want to go to the mall? We don't buy anything, and we just end up talking about life and what might happen next year and what if I get married and all this other stuff. And guess what? Nothing was wrong. It was all preventive. Just a talk and a chit chat. So there can be some differences there between, black and brown men and black and brown women. But others of you raised your hand. When was the last time, if any time, you had group talks or even one-on-one talks with men in your life? And some people raised their hand, yes.
I think it's about I think the biggest difference between having a space like that with your boys and like having that with your partner is just like, oftentimes you're in a space where you're already more vulnerable with your partner than you are with your boys. So like, when I'm with my boys, I might not be as vulnerable because I just like am not used to that. I'm not used to presenting that side of myself. And I think that a lot of it comes from like black and brown people just being resilient. You know what I'm saying? And like, we are resilient as a people, but it's like a forced resiliency, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're resilient because we have to be. You know what I'm saying? Like that's happened over time, and it's not something that we necessarily wanted for ourselves, but it's just something that has happened because that's how we live here in America. The session today for me was a great learning experience. Not only that a lot of young men are going through a lot of the same challenges that I am, but also how beneficial it can be just from a standpoint that like understanding that I'm good enough, just coming as I am.
Have made it. Well, with black and brown men having to do twice the work in our society, whether it be at work, whether it be at home at times, feeling this, and then it being said to you in many avenues in your life. How do you think that affects you on a daily basis as far as your functioning mentally and physically? Had you
Historically,
ever lived with that before?
going all the way back to slavery, and we know how impactful slavery was on American culture, we weren't allowed to express, just period. We weren't allowed to express, we weren't allowed to learn. It was only work and just basic means of survival. Eat, drink, sleep, work, and that was it. Even after slavery was outlawed, there's so many different things that were set up to put us at a disadvantage, and we just had to roll with the punches and smile in people's faces even though we were being mistreated. And we found a way to express and create. Every other venue hesitates to book Milwaukee talent because when you look at their music videos and listen to their music, it's all drug money, guns, beef, all of that stuff. But I mean, that's just a part of Milwaukee. That's, we're talking about the things that we're going through in our music. And the show went by and nothing went wrong, as I kind of knew it would. And I feel like I just proved the whole city wrong as far as like, people feel like they can't book Milwaukee talent because it's too dangerous. I felt like I broke that barrier down and I at least started the process.
And nobody even realized that these are microaggressions. They happen every single day, 24 hours a day, from those slight, oh, you're all right, Speedy Gonzalez, don't run too fast. Like, what did you just say? Or it looks like I'm the lowest man at the totem pole.
My freshman year, I started to attend a classmate of mine home. And I remember one time the mom actually came by during her lunch break just to see how the house was. And she looked at me, and then she told her son, hey, I want you to come into the living room, I want to talk to you. And after that, I wasn't allowed to be able to come into the kids' house anymore. But he didn't directly tell me. He just kind of told me that he's not having lunch anymore at his house. I did not understand that what that really meant until I started seeing kids actually still going to his house. I couldn't break it to my mom because I know my mom would have definitely felt sad and felt very angry that I experienced that. So I kind of kept that to myself.
And so I just want to go through some of the things that may be going on within you and you may not even notice, or you notice them and you're like, I just thought I was pissed, or I just thought I was sad. At times I could just be minding my business and all of a sudden out of the blue, heart beating out my chest, or I start sweating, or I feel nervous like something's about to happen or something's gonna happen, or I worry excessively.
Before I had my very, very first protest, I didn't know if I was gonna make it home, just because of the fact that previous day, it was the right-wing group, and they was out in Milwaukee, the place that I was gonna protest with their assault rifles and everything and agitating everything. So I didn't know how this could end. And it took a lot mentally to have to internalize that and materialize that in your mind, like this could be it for you. This literally could be it for you. So actually, that protest, people came with their assault rifles and everything, and they had a conversation with me, and they said, hey man, everybody called me over, hey, we really want to talk to you. And the guy was like, yeah, we really want to march with you guys, and we got you a gift. I don't understand why he would do this, but the gift was a bulletproof vest. Why do I need that and y'all got the guns? Why do I need that? And I told them, no, I can't tell y'all what to do. And I knew if they really want to come in solidarity, they would have came and put their guns down. As crazy as it may be, this isn't the first time. So what you're doing is nothing new to me. You just don't got a badge.
We are. We are. We are.
What things have happened in their past that keep coming up, but you finding ways to get it out of your head. These are some of the mental health challenges that get in the way of your mental wellness. So when you go through certain things like this, how do you usually take care of it? Yes.
I think what comes to mind is we were talking about microaggressions before, and I think that I have to explain to my white side of the family, you can't be saying this. Mm-hmm. It is not acceptable.
Assertive.
Yeah, and for me as a quiet, kind of shy, reserved person, it's extremely difficult for me. And being a person of color, dating a person of color, and having to stick up for them in my white family space, that's a lot. And I'm like, honey, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. I need to have these conversations with those people.
You ain't doing nothing wrong. It's a tricky situation, but I think just you kind of got to be honest. Hey, these therapy experiences that we have is, it's everything for me. It means a lot because this is literally my first experience with any forms of therapy. So as well as I put this together to help other people out, I'm on a boat with them, riding for help. I'm not leading it. We on this together.
It's gotten to a point for me that I honestly just need someone to talk to. I want to, I want to be vulnerable in a space where I can feel safe. I could feel protected.
With the groups, we can kind of tell how each group moves or what each group is kind of thinking or feeling, and it kind of shows us how to facilitate or how to move with the group. If the group is a bit more quieter, okay, then Dr. Knox and Darius are the ones that are a bit more, animated or lively. If the group is a bit more livelier, Corey is kind of the one that's a little mellow and laid back and knows how to kind of redirect a few things.
June 25th is my mom's anniversary of her death. And sometimes that lands on a weekday, but every single year I just tell the job, hey, I'm not going to be able to attend work that day. There's a huge thirst and a huge need for this. And with this specifically being for free, these people are experiencing a type of therapy. This group therapeutic experience is something that's needed not only in Milwaukee, but throughout the country.
I've learned that they have a tendency to devalue young black and brown people, and it happens on a regular basis.
It was something that was always needed. However, what triggered it was what was going on in the climate at the time as far as the marches that Darius was in. People were being more blatant with the disrespect. So instead of just doing it due to COVID, due to the murders that had been happening, and there were many more murders that were happening here than were publicized nationally. So my opinion and our thoughts as Black Space, it's always been needed.
It just gets uncomfortable when you switch from that, joking, ha ha ha, and then you're like, dang, I'm not feeling good up here, fellas. Like, it's just
my mom would definitely be very happy, very elated that this is something that I'm specifying and making sure I'm taking care of my community here in Milwaukee and hopefully also around the country.
As you said, like, vulnerability as a man is not actually taught to you, especially as a Black man, because it's some shit that you're gonna have to deal with in life, and all your parents is trying to do is prepare you for that long, tough road that you're gonna have to deal with. So when we was in Terra County, a lot of the people there at Terra County spoke to us, and one of the biggest people that spoke to us was a Black sergeant there that wanted us to come back down there and hold Black space for the Black police officer, the Black and brown police officer of Terra County, because they are facing the exact same things that everybody else is facing. The only difference is they're facing it from the people on the street and from the other white officers within their own police department. So we're hopefully we can do that and make a change for those police officers, the Black police officers, because it's crazy because even if they are a police officer, after they're a police officer, they go home and they still Black. So
I believe that, number one, we've had a really, really, really fruitful discussion here, and I just want to know what you guys thought about just our discussion today and how the group was. Like, just give me 1 or 2 or 5 words, because I want to know. I want to make sure that, I know a lot of you were like, I'm not sure what I want to get out of this group. Some of you said this is what specifically I want to get out of this group. But I think that from what we all talked about, a lot of us do share a lot of experiences. A lot of you do have a lot of the same thoughts and have gone through a lot of experiences from the time you were this high all the way up to yesterday. But what can you tell me, positively or negatively, that you got and gleaned from this group?
I think seeing how much wisdom there is in the room, I think that there's so much emphasis on passing down wisdom from generation to generation. But I think in this session, it was a great example of how beneficial it can be learning from people that are the same age as you. Like, wisdom doesn't have to come from people that are 20, 30, 40 years older than you. Lived experiences give wisdom, and that can come from someone that's 24, 25 years old as well. And I think that was really, almost really heartwarming to see, honestly.
It was cool. It was fun. It's cool getting to know everybody. It doesn't usually happen on this deep of a level first time you meet somebody, so it's cool. I think a lot of people could benefit from therapy or group therapy and just letting out their feelings and just talking about the things that they're holding inside on a deep level rather than small talk and, hey, what's up, how are you doing? Just interacting on a deeper level is something that is very underrated. And I think a lot of people can benefit from it.
Everybody's going through something, so I'm happy that
I learned today that there's people who also are thriving and striving for their mental health.
There's a sense of community.
Put things in perspective.
1, it's okay, and 2, that you're enough.